Good morning, Karen from Quantum Heart Awakening. Today we're going to do a Divine Masculine check-in. So let's see where we begin. We have Ancestral Realm, Karmic Release, Healing the Lineage, Boundaries. And then the Central Sun, Abundance, Downloads, Regeneration, and Success. We also have the Heart of Source, All-Encompassing Love, Unconditional Acceptance, and Serenity in reverse. Anything else, Spirit? Anything else? I have a new setup today. I was getting sick of my old setup. Gotta mix up the energy once in a while. Let's see how it goes. Anything else? The downside is I have a smaller surface area, so everything's a little snug. Okay, we have Shambhala, Initiations, Retreating to Recharge, Trusting in the Process, Dharma, and Proceed, Be Seen, and Push Through in reverse. Okay. All right. I hear you. I hear you. Let's get one more, Spirit. One more. Anything else? Oh, I guess we have a few more. Stargate of Heart. Yeah. Oh, masculines. Holy Grail in reverse. Inner discovery. Finding sacredness. You are what you seek. Yeah, the energy I'm getting from this masculines is a little bit of a crisis of spirit, a little bit of needing to retreat to reconnect with source. I don't feel like this message is new. This is in alignment with the last few readings we have done. The high point is that there is this acceleration, right? There's this pickup happening. Let me see, in the unconscious, halls of Amenti initiation, secrets revealed, treasures uncovered, initiations. So those of you who have followed me for a while, anytime I see pillars in any capacity, in any visual or any representation, those are my pillars of ascension. What does that mean? That means that spirit, source, the quantum field, whatever you want to call it, is calling masculines to something higher, calling them to walk through the flames of whatever hero's journey it is and step into a higher awareness, a higher way of operating in this field. Okay. Let's see. What else? Where should we go? I just want to get some fun cosmic journey cards just for the heck of it. Let's see. Anything for masculine spirit? Anything for masculine? Jeez. Avalanche. I don't know if this setup's going to work. It's a little tight. Okay, you contain the entire universe encoded within you. I am a galactic starseed blooming. Soul giraffe. This is always my, okay, masculines. A message here too is congratulations for stepping into your spots. And what do I mean by that? There's something about like earning your spots, earning your weirdness, earning your uniqueness, earning this place in this unconventional way of living. And for some of you, this still has yet to happen, to really step into whatever makes you unique and to be unashamed about your purple spots and the lightning bolt that's been, zapped onto your skin. I don't know. I'm just flowing with the energy here. A light grows brighter only by lighting another. Okay, masculines are confronting empathy. Masculines are confronting what it means to actually be in sustainable service to another with sincerity, not for what it can bring them, not for what it looks like, not for how it could advance their career or make them more money, but really allowing that beautiful love and compassion and empathy to feed their soul. We also have fulfill your destiny as a cosmic change maker in reverse. So yeah, it's not, some of this stuff might be coming online and is not quite here yet. In the unconscious, we have say yes to your open door. Where's the other card of, here it is, this one that fell. This one says, yes, proceed, be seen, push through, but it's in reverse. So yeah, there's some delay here, masculines. I'm not quite sure what that is for you, but there is a delay. Maybe there's another soul lesson that you're currently working out. Let's actually get some clarifiers and see what's going on. Okay, what is this thing that the masculines are working out? Okay, we have manifestation in reverse and grief. Again, another card of another message of a little bit of a stall here. So you need to work out some grief, masculines. What does that mean to you? What does that look like? All right, anything else? What else are the masculines working out? Shame in reverse. Anything else? What else are the masculines working out? Jeez, hold on. Okay. Alchemy, shining. Yeah, there's some... Okay, this is just interesting. These came out together. Look at this beautiful Queen Nefertiti card, this alchemy card. Look at the sun shining, those beautiful sunbeams shining upon her. And then we have shine in reverse. This is kind of cool. Okay, give me a moment here. Yeah, just in the unconscious, we have rage. I'm going to actually put this over here. Let's not forget it's in the unconscious. I'll kind of put it separate. Oh, masculines, I feel like this message just came up for some of you around diving deep within self. I think yesterday you received the Vision Quest assignment, right? To go on a journey, a wandering, an intentional wandering to connect with Source so that you can excavate any blocks to that love. When we have any extended time where we're able to exist within Source or with Source and tap into that oneness, it will literally bring you to your knees because the love is so profound when it lands in your body. Even just talking about it moves me to tears. It levels me every time because it's such a profound love. And the beautiful part of it, it will debilitate anything that is not love. It'll debilitate the ego, shame, grief, rage, pain. It will completely decimate these blocks to love. And masculines, you're called to go and intentionally commune with Source so that you can excavate these deep, deep things that have been buried within and allow Source to support you in that inner alchemy, in that transmutation. Hold on, there's another message here. Let me think out loud for a second. Okay. So this message around grief feels like a current energy. Masculines may be sorting through what grief is to them. How does grief really relate to their hearts? Have you masculines been able to identify this feeling as grief? One of the biggest soul missions and soul lessons that the masculines have to learn is vulnerability and feeling worthiness in the center of their vulnerability. Feminine soul mission is rooted in feeling worthiness. So it's very similar, even though it looks a little bit different. It's different approaches, different directions around the same kind of worthiness piece. And so masculine energies seem to be doing a wonderful job right now about stepping into their authentic self-expression, honoring that there is grief here, running, playing behind the scenes in the background. Okay, I'm getting tripped up with this shame and rage. Let me just feel into it for a second. So, okay, we have shame in reverse. I always have to talk out loud. This is how we get to the core of the message. We have shame in reverse, which can mean two things. It could be wonderful in that masculines are stepping into a more empowered feeling expression. They're getting more comfortable in standing in the center of their emotional chaos. Or it could mean that the shame has overtaken some of their work, but that shame has been kind of pushed into the shadows, and by not confronting this shame, it's blocking all sort of manifestations and creations for masculine energy. This makes sense now that rage is in the unconscious. If you're not masculines, if you're not allowing yourself to honor your true feelings, then there's going to be, conscious or unconscious, a buildup of frustration and resentment of self, and and anger, and any other dense energy is just like stoking the embers of this fire within, of this fire that you might not even be aware of. And it may bubble up and out in other areas of your life. I mean, masculines, call yourself out, take accountability. Do you find yourself snapping at loved ones or snapping at coworkers, or maybe your fuse is shorter than normal? It's time to really excavate this rage and create safe space to be angry. I think a lot of us, masculines and feminines, it's very rare that healthy rage has been modeled for us. I think, I'm trying to think of a good example. I can't. I'm actually I'm thinking about my relationship to rage as a child. And I was allowed to have big feelings, but when masculines in my family had big rage, it really scared me. And although I never felt unsafe, I didn't really develop kind of we can have big emotions and then come back into love. That wasn't a very clear association for me. So, for a very big part of my life, when people got really loud and aggressive, it didn't make me feel safe. And I'm not saying it makes me feel safe now, but I'm saying I can hold my center for love in that flavor of chaos and access discernment over what I need to feel safe, to have a productive conversation. I have confidence now to say, I'm hearing you're very angry. I think we should take some space so you can go vibrate that anger. And of course, when someone's really pissed off, it's very hard to say those things. And sometimes it's very hard for people to receive those things, because another facet of anger is it's a propelling energy, right? It wants to move, it wants to go somewhere, it wants to express itself. But we don't have to we don't have to consent to being the receptacle of that anger. We don't have to consent to anybody else's pain or drama or grief or pain. I said pain twice. That's interesting. We don't have to consent to those experiences. We are allowed to honor our bandwidth. It doesn't matter how much you love the person. It doesn't matter if they're your best friend. It's up to us to own our sovereignty, to step into self-awareness that can identify what we need to be, what we need to do, what boundaries we need to uphold to step into the highest and best possible version of self. If someone's coming at you aggressively with a lot of rage and you feel yourself immediately losing your center, you do not have to stay in that experience. I mean, yes, there's very unique situations where God knows what can happen. I'm not talking about those situations. I'm talking like if your coworker gets pissed at a customer and then takes out all of their anger like on you, if they unleash it all on you, that's not fair, right? That's their anger and they get to open that package up. You don't have to consent to receiving that package of their anger. Okay. You know what's interesting? I shuffled a little bit and then I looked at the bottom of the deck. We have giving and receiving. Yeah, there's a really beautiful message here around consent in this giving and receiving of emotional energy and density. So tune inward. Where in your life do you find yourself receiving other people's stuff, emotional debris, I like to call it? And is that in consent with you? Or do you just accept it and just, are you unconsciously receiving all of this vibrational debris? So tune inward, hold yourself accountable and see, just see. Now that I've said it, it's in your awareness. So just start watching your life. It could be as simple as you go to a store and you're checking out and the cashier is like in a whole nother planet and is very miserable and they don't even say anything. They're just putting out a vibe. You don't have to receive that vibe. You can shield yourself. The grocery store is an interesting like mecca of very tumultuous energy, right? Because a lot of people, I know very few people who love grocery shopping. It's usually that thing that everyone has to do, and people are usually rushing, and it's not usually the most present, calm situation. So before you walk into the grocery store or any populated, busy place, the train station or the airport, or even just your place of business, you can actually put a shield, a bubble of protection around you. Okay, where do we want to go next? So our themes have been releasing the past, owning new boundaries, and stepping into consent in this emotional, in a vibrational way. Okay, let's see. Okay. This whole new setup, I have all my decks at my disposal, and I love that part of it. Okay, let's see. Anything else for masculines? What would support them right now? What would support... Okay, let's get intentional about these questions. Hold on. What would support masculines in stepping into their emotional truth and vulnerability confidently and knowing that they are worthy to receive love despite their actions, despite their feelings, despite what it's looking like? Okay. Say more, please. This is our now second card of boundaries and third message around consent and boundaries that have come up. Whew, okay, masculines. I'm also wondering if okay, this psychic abilities card has come up for masculine specifically and the union energies over and over and over again. So I'm going to save that for a little later because it just feels like a separate message. Actually, these feel like they go together and they're kind of matching too. Masculine, the other thing, the flip side of the consent and boundaries message is, do you have other people, places, or things in your life that are consistently crossing your boundaries with their emotional intensity or debris? How can you what would support you in stepping into this courage? How can you be courageous in honoring your own truth, loving yourself enough to not bend over backwards for whatever this person is doing or whatever your job is doing? What would support you in taking this step forward in honoring your truth? The thing is, masculines are notorious for, hold on. I don't like to make sweeping general statements, but let me root this in the narrative and the soulmate cycle thus far that we've been following, right? Okay. We have seen that masculines have been consumed with evaluating their current values, seeing if they still fit them, worrying about their firm foundation. What is it going to look like? What do I need to do to build this solid base so that I can step into soul mission and soul purpose and have something to build upon? So it's very easy for masculine energy to kind of have that one-track mind and abandon their emotional truth about the journey that's unfolding in front of them. You know, it's I'm kind of feeling a little bit like, you know, the feeling of when you get in a car accident. I don't know, I hope you guys have never gotten in a car accident, but if you have, or experience any sort of like acute trauma like that. So when you're in a car accident, they always tell you to go to the hospital just to get checked out because, one, it's a good thing, it's a documentation purposes, but also usually the body is pumping so much adrenaline that the perceptual system is off, right? We can't always feel what's wrong with us because the adrenaline is just keeping us going because it recognized a trauma, right? So sometimes we might not feel the pain of our injuries until the next day or even a few days later. So there's something here, masculines, that this process of coming into clarity around your foundation and your foundational truth, this might actually have been traumatic for you. And because of this trauma, you might not be able to assess and access your injuries, your emotional, psychic injuries. There's something here around, again, going on to this vision quest and creating. I mean, not everyone could take a long-term vision quest, but if you can, it is highly recommended that you create, even if it's not long-term in the sense of you go away for 3 months, even if it's just 1 hour a day for 3 months, 6 months, that you create protected, safe space where you will not be interrupted, that you can commune with source, so that you can allow yourself to be held. Someone once asked Teresa of Avila, what does she do when she prays? And she said this beautiful line. She says, I allow myself to be loved. I allow myself to be loved. And masculines could use a pretty hefty dose of love right now. So if this isn't your narrative and you think it might be a masculine, say some prayers. Oh, I'm getting emotional. It's like, we hold so much power and we have no clue really the magnitude of a prayer, the magnitude of you setting an intention or speaking love and growth over someone's life. You can do that for anyone, and it costs us nothing. It might cost us a little bit of time, but I guarantee that you could find an in-between moment to do that. I guarantee you could do it while you're brushing your teeth or on the way to work, or any of these little in-between moments when you're walking to your car. There's always time to pray. And it's very powerful. And I think my heart goes out to the masculines right now, because I don't think they understand the magnitude of the trauma they went through to go after their firm foundation. And I think a part of the feminine's job, whether that's internal or external, is to remind them that we don't have to, bash ourselves against the stone in order to create this firm foundation. We don't have to compromise self. We don't have to cross our own boundaries. We don't have to cross our body's boundaries to take another step forward to building the life that we want for ourselves and our loved ones. I am very emotional right now. This is very interesting. Ooh, okay, this is why I'm emotional. By the way, before I go there, remind me to talk about, you're not going to remind me, this is a recording. You can't remind me. These cards remind me of feminine intervention. I'm going to talk about that later. I'm just saying it out loud to remind myself. Before we go on, I just want to point out that in the unconscious for masculine energy, we have confidence. Yeah, let's go back to the car accident. If you get in a car accident, and a pretty hairy one, a pretty bad one, let me tell you, I've been in pretty bad car accidents, and the next time I had to get into a car, I couldn't do it. I needed to take more time to vibrate that trauma out of my body, because I was scared. I was scared, and my fascia, my nervous system, was holding on to that trauma and that memory of that experience. So I wasn't confident behind the wheel. I had to, maybe, I think I was in high school. It's like I had to drive with a friend or a parent or my sibling or something to kind of just get back into the feeling of safety in my body inside a car, and then to get back inside my body in safety in a car behind the wheel. That's a whole nother thing, right? So masculines, it makes sense, and really honor if you're not feeling confident, if you're not feeling worthy right now. It's okay. You went through a trauma. I don't know what this looks like. They're not, I'm reading for a bunch of people and for the collective. So it's it's like looking through a kaleidoscope at messages. So I can't pinpoint any one thing. But yeah, let's have a lot of love for masculines. It's okay if you don't feel confident right now. Like, really honor what the heck you've been through. And for some of you, yes, this could have been an acute recent situation, but for others of you, this could be a 10-year trauma. This could be a 30, 40, 50-year trauma. We're not always conscious of how our lives unfold in the world of physiology, right? In our bodies, right? We don't know what our fascia is holding on to. We don't know the relationships our nervous system has built with the world around us. Sometimes we do, because we can identify when something is going wrong or flagging us to pay attention to danger or comfort, or, we don't always know them. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. So masculines, ask Source, God, the quantum field, for a profound amount of grace right now. Call on grace. I'm going to ask God to hover over you right now and to let that grace run through you, bulldozing any doubts, any blocks to love, because with Source, all things are possible. Beautiful. Okay, I told you I would go back to this other message. So these cards this card made no sense to me when it first came out, and I just watched it. I'm like, okay, I see you. I'm gonna keep an eye on you. So I'm very drawn to this pregnant woman right here. She's pregnant, or she's really sticking her belly out. I'm not quite sure. But this always feels like a very divine feminine card. And so feminines, whether this is for your internal masculine or external masculine, you have profound psychic abilities to astral travel, to remote view into the life of your internal or external masculine, or collective masculine for that matter. You are being called to use your powers for good. You are being called to step up and lead. She is alone in this boat. She doesn't need anyone with her. She is guided by the moon. The moon is a symbol of mystery and illuminates things in the darkness. Moon energy is the feminine, right? We are one with the cycles of the moon. We have our hearts, our intuition, and our knowing to guide us through darkness. So use your abilities to guide through the darkness, to hold your center for love in your masculine's chaos. Yes, honor your bandwidth. If you have your own chaos right now, always take care of self first, because we can't pour from an empty cup. I'm sure you've heard that a million times, but it's just true, and it's an oldie goldie. So we're going to say it over and over again, right? You cannot pour from an empty cup. That's why you put your mask on first before you help children or elderly on the plane. You have to. If you're not taken care of, then you can't take care of anyone else. And I'm assuming for most of you, people, places, and things are relying on you. You are incredibly important and valuable, divine feminines, if you're here watching for your internal or external masculine. So use your psychic abilities for good. Power of prayer, power of intention, visualization, Reiki, sound healing, sex magic. Trying to think of other modalities that people use. Yeah, any sort of loving energy. Tonglen is a Buddhist practice where you take in the suffering of something specific or of the planet, you bring it into your heart, and you hold it in your heart long enough to cleanse and purify that energy. And then only then, when it's clean, when it's pristine, loving frequency, then you send it back out to the world, to the people that need it. I'm such an empath. You guys hear me cry all the time, but it always cracks me up what moves me, and sometimes it makes no sense to me, but I'm always touched anytime the oneness vibration is in my heart. It's just powerful, and it's also real. It's so freaking real. Okay, what else should we get? Is there anything unresolved, Spirit? Let me read these reversals again. Sorry, I can't see them. What does that say? Oh, retreating to recharge, trusting the process, Dharma. I mean, it's another message, masculines, that... Didn't we get the message yesterday how some of you have received a message from Spirit but are not honoring it, are not listening to it? I think that came up yesterday, and Masculines, this is no different. You know what you have to do to get to the mountaintop. It's time to do it. What is blocking it? What fears do you have? Take accountability and just write them on a piece of paper. Write down all of your fears, all of your write down, okay, homework time. Write down what you fear would happen if you were to stand in your authentic truth and vulnerability. What do you fear would happen? Write it all down, put it on a piece of paper, and then burn it. Burn it outside. Do not do that in your home, but burn it. Allow it to burn and ask God to hover over you and to hold the awareness of that unconditional love with you in the face of all of that insecurity. Woo, man. All right, what else do we want to get? Let's get some twin flame cards, because why not? All right, what else for the masculines? What else would support them? What else would motivate them? What else would support their inner love and outer love? What would help them feel confident in taking a step towards source? We have clearing energy blocks, activating the higher chakras, and surrender to dark night of the soul. Okay, masculines, let's go back to that homework. One of your fears might be the dark night of the soul. Maybe you've been through one. Maybe you've been avoiding it your whole life. It's not pleasant. I'm just going to be honest. I'm never going to lie to you, because what's the point of... We can't move the needle if we don't bring all the truth in the room, right? We can't possibly do this work if all the truth isn't in the room. It's just a waste of energy. We're just kind of like dancing on the surface instead of really addressing the deeper core issues. Okay, this is interesting here. Okay, in the unconscious, we have feminine twin activating higher self. Masculines, are you insecure that you're not where your feminine is? Stop comparing yourself. You have to understand that you are a mirror and that you do this work for each other, for the planet. It's like climbing, it's like you are one body climbing a ladder. The work you do is the right leg. The work your feminine does is the left leg. I don't know why I chose those. They do say, I think the left side of the body is the feminine. Maybe that's why I said it. But you do this work in tandem, masculines. So do not compare yourselves. Maybe go for, there's another message here about doing an energy clearing. There's many YouTube meditations you could do, but I would go see like a Reiki master or any sort of energy healer, Qigong, I don't know how to say it, or Tai Chi, or there's something about needing to move your energies and get in the practice of moving your energies. Remember, your feminine is here to help you. You do this work together. Anything else? No, I think that's a good spot to leave it. I love you, masculines. You're doing an incredible, incredible job. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in